Just getting things lined up here to start working on this bad boy, and then I heard this coming down the road. Oh yeah, here we come. Didn't take him long. Attaboy, Chris. Chris Barber with Big Red rolling in with Big Bud, fresh from the Ag in Motion show up in Saskatoon, and he brought it back only a couple days later. Oh, that's cool. Love it. I didn't have time to get the drone up, so we're gonna go with this. There we go, that's that. She's back. I don't smell much maple syrup on it. No visible hockey pucks. But she is back in one piece, and they didn't fix it for us, unfortunately. Yeah, we're still missing that stuff right there. But anyways, that'll work. We'll get her fixed. Okay, nice to have it back on the farm. All right, I think we're gonna put the bud back inside here because we're gonna need that in here when we get the gears and sprockets and all that good stuff when that day comes. But until then, we'll run this out because I guess it doesn't matter to fade the paint on it, right? Can't fade it any worse than it is. Okay. Elopes a little bit. Steering's nice and tight. Those new bushings in there, nice and tight. Ready to let her snort? So last harvest, we had a combine sieve plug up really bad, and it filled a hopper full of chaff. A lot of chaff, wet, nasty chaff. And it got dumped in a grain trailer, and in the process, when loading in the bin, it all dumped into this auger at one time, went up the top, and jammed in and plugged it really bad, and twisted and bent the flighting really bad. We barely got through harvest, barely trickling grain through. It was a pain. Plugged twice on us, it was a mess. So we got to fix the end of the flighting. And thankfully, we have some friends that had one of these, thanks Ted. And it has flighting in it that's good. So we're not gonna use this tube, but we're gonna take the flight out of that and put it in the end over there. And also there's an update to the joints of the flighting sections. There's a square shaft where the flighting connects together, but there's a bolt that goes through. And it's a little tight, and the bolt ends up taking the abuse of the flighting, twisting in and jerking, and it breaks the bolts. So there's a little update we can do to that. Not a big deal, but we gotta get the flighting out to do that, so now's a great time to do that. The other thing we're doing is this is the crossover, an upgrade from the Gulp. And we've had some problems with it. It just hasn't really worked out quite how we want it to. And the new and improved, well, it's not, it's just totally different, is the Extend. And the Extend is what I'll show you guys in a minute, but we got one of those, we're putting that on here too. So the combination of the reducer with the reverser option, gearbox, the Extend, and the upgraded flighting. This thing should be mint for harvest. So look at this Westfield in action. Take it apart. All right, so we're gonna try to lift this up. The little tabs are off on the swivel plate here. It's got a spline shaft, so it should lift off and pull out of that gearbox there. There we go. Beautiful. Oh, that was easy. Man, I love when stuff comes apart easy like that. It's probably gonna be a little tricky because it's gonna have to drag the whole thing around. We'll get her off. There's some really good parts on this crossover X-over, and we will use some of it. But for now, oh, I think that thing's actually weighted okay. Look at that. Let me just drag that away. Ooh, that's got some weight to it. You can hear that skid steer working. Those forks are nice.
Hey Nick, you want a treadmill at your house?
Yes.
Okay.
You can see here, we actually already lost one bolt right there. We found that in the grain bin. That's interesting, that's where that's missing. Or is it right there? Well, maybe those just don't have bolts through them. There's 2 bolts missing right here, but I don't know if maybe they never had bolts. That one and that end. Maybe they weren't supposed to.
Oh, so this is the carrier bearing they're talking about. It's correct right there.
Is this a greasable? No, it's not.
It comes with a new bearing.
I do like how this is a separate set of flighting right here, this bottom end, because this is what gets the most abuse. As the grain falls down on top here and transitions from vertical drop to horizontal or slightly vertical up to the bin, the wear always happens first on the start of the flighting. And then from then on, when it fills up, the rest of the flighting doesn't take as much abuse, and you can see it's a lot thinner. They don't need as heavy a flighting to go up the tube. But this stuff, see how thick a gauge that is? That's why they've got the heavier gauge there, and they've double wrapped it too to grab quicker. So that way it starts packing the grain in faster instead of trying to wait for that spiral to slap it every time and keep going in. So it's just kind of little things they do to speed up the efficiency and keep them from wearing. But yeah, those are always what wears first. You can see a little bit of wear on that one there. That's where it goes and bites in the grain every time. That edge there is going to take the first abuse. So here's the kit from AGI, the Westfield setup here. So you can see that slot there. It's slightly oblong. I don't know if you can notice it. It's not a perfect circle. They've kind of egged it a little bit. Oblong, I don't know if that's the correct term. Oval. Egg-shaped. So that way, the shaft itself takes the abuse. So as the auger's flighting goes on here, it's going to hit on these edges. That's what locks it in. Before, it was on the shaft, but the hole was a little bit tighter with the bolt through it, and the bolt took the abuse, and it was breaking the bolts. So now with this kit, the bolt won't have any abuse at all. That's only purpose just to keep the flighting together, so it can't separate from the seams. But the actual stress is going to end up on the square shaft there. And we got a new carrier bearing here. Is this the same as that there? Or is this one goes in?
Same one.
It looks a little different design though.
No,
is that piece in there? No,
it doesn't have it, but it's.
So they changed it, so it's a little bit different. So we'll line up. Oh yeah, okay. So they just add a little more strength on it. So I probably should lift this up, drag this over to point that way, and then we're gonna put this up on top of the bed of something or a loader, so that way we get the spout down as low as we can get without curling the flighting real bad, and we'll take the end off and then start dragging the flighting out. There's not a lot of weight on here now that we took the crossover out of the way, swing out, anyway. So I think what we're gonna do, because we thought about maybe using the front end loader to lift this up and hold it in the air, we're gonna grab the scissor lift. That poor thing gets used for all sorts of stuff that it was never designed for. This is gonna be one of them. So I'll lift it up, he'll drive it underneath and set it down on top of it, and then the scissor lift we can raise and lower to get the angle we need to set this out. And then, yeah, we got some blocks here. I'm gonna block the tires on this thing so it doesn't roll down. That one and this one.
Hey! I'm not coming down. I'm not gonna come down.
So all the engineers out there and manufacturers who build stuff for purposes, they have a great, purpose. I just want to let you know that if they end up on a farm like ours, they will get used for other purposes. It's just how it is. I'm sorry. We can't help ourselves. So if you built that thing, close your eyes. Too heavy for it?
Don't lift it.
Well, hold it. Is that pretty heavy? Uh-oh. I blocked the wheels.
Oh, I don't like this, Nick.
Okay. All right, it's heavier than we thought. So we're gonna keep the lift here to use it, but not for that purpose. Yeah, didn't work. I think the load capacity of the thing's 700, 800 pounds. Yeah, this is more than 800 pounds. All right, well, I guess I'll probably be the loader. So I'll put this down. All right, here comes the loader, so we'll put that on the end. That's a little stronger. It's like 16,000 pound lift capacity. That shouldn't be an issue. No, we haven't fixed the transmission of that loader yet, for those who are wondering. That's on hold too, like a lot of other stuff this farm. Sorry about that, just kind of how things happen. Farming, around shop stuff, it's amazing how stuff gets delayed. We got a winner, we'll take care of it. Just get them going all the way, there we go. Gonna take a look at it. There we go. So we got it chained, so at least it'll hold it if for some reason something happens. All right, well, we won't be underneath here, so that'll be safe. Got blocks on the wheels there. We're gonna be working down here. I guess I'll start taking the end of this thing off and not walk underneath it. They got those little brackets that hold all the bolts together in there.
much nicer than it was last year.
Oh yeah, this is a little easier to do. Yeah, they determined that there was like a 30% increase in horsepower need by transition on these augers when it went to a horizontal to complete vertical drop. And by adding this, allow it to kind of flow and fall out naturally, they were able to get a lot more
it's a sweet design.
Yeah, capacity and less horsepower. So it was really cool. I'm glad we had this updated. But for that reason, the chaff combination that we had, I didn't like it. So we won't do that again. Look at that. So I got some grain in here. There's the twisted flighting. You guys can see that. Yeah, not pretty. Getting fixed. You said the bearing was out on this thing?
I thought it was.
I think it's a bushing. We might try just pulling on a little bit. We might have to block that axle more with something to stop from rolling. I don't know if those blocks are going to be enough, but technically that flighting is ready to slide out, so we might give her a try here.
No, we can't pull it out too far.
I'm not going to pull much. We might have to park something in front of those wheels.
I apologize. I thought I pushed the record button and we took the flighting out and you guys didn't see it. But anyways, you'll see more of it. This is going to be heavy. I don't think I can lift this off. There we have it. That's the last one. So here's the issue that we were talking about. You see this bolt? He literally was pulling it off and it sheared the bolt. Now, you see this one? This is the new one. See, there's space to flex in there. This is cut out like this, okay? So it's wider. And you want that. You want the bolt to be pulling on it, not be twisting. And that's the problem. So we're putting the new one in, we'll put the new bolts, and you don't want to over tighten these. You don't want to stretch the bolt too much. You want to get it snug enough where it stays, it doesn't twist, but you don't want it to... And the other thing too is which way you put the bolt in. You don't want the threads facing where all the grain's gonna go and rubbing on stuff. You want the bolt head to be where that's rubbing. So if you look at the face, this right here is nice and polished and smooth. That's where you're running all the product from. You want that bolt head to be on that side. Just like he's got there. Okay, and then we'll grab a 3/4 wrench here. Don't hammer on it, you just want to get it snug. Perfect. And the nice thing is it's got a locking nut on it, so you don't have to worry about it. If it gets a little loose and spins a little bit, it's not the end of the world. But you don't want to over tighten it. You don't want to stretch those bolts. You don't want to. That's a lot of don'ts, but anyways, I think I could probably manhandle this thing in there, somewhat. Now we're going to line them up, and then we want to make sure they're timed correctly, which meaning the flighting goes together with the way they came with, so you don't want them offset, otherwise you'll start having a bottleneck. But just like what he's got right there. Okay, right there. Don't touch it. Use the Defender Can-Am. It's a beast. Look at that thing. You need a 6-foot long bed for that. All right, now they're gonna hook it up with the chain. I'll grab them a bolt. They probably would like one. Hook onto it. Here you go. And then he's gonna lift it up on that side. We'll pull the Can-Am out of the way. The Defender gets to be removed from its purpose for the time being. We'll slide this one in. Nick, I got a chain. We could try pulling it out.
Okay.
You might have to straighten it out so you can pull it. Don't ask. Okay, you can ask, but I might not be telling. I'm gonna do it. I think he's all screwed up. I feel so wrong. I can't believe I said that. Now I feel slightly ashamed of myself. Keyword slightly. There we go. Go down a little bit. You can hold on.
All right, well, flighting is in. The old joints are out, and got a new bearing and the bearing carrier right there, the bearing holder, and so that's all set. So now it's time to start putting the new piece on. That is the Extend. We're excited for this thing. It's going to be quite an upgrade, so pretty awesome. But we are missing one seal at the very end. That's got to go on right before the bearing on the very, very end. We just didn't get that, so we got that on order, so we'll get that soon. We can finish that out when we get the seal. But for now, we'll assemble this thing, get this on.
Hi, good morning. Now this is gonna suck. We need to hook it.
Can I set it down on this thing?
That's what I'm wondering. Okay, slowly set it down. Keep going.
There we go, right on.
Can you see everything?
I can see pretty good.
Okay, drop it down a little bit. Okay, now stop.
Yeah, it slid out, that's what I said.
Yep, you're right. I was wrong. Can you set it down a little bit, Nick? Try sliding it in some, Dad. You try wiggling it in.
So far so good, things are coming together pretty smoothly. Just got to finish tightening up all the set screws and the keys, a couple bolts, got to tighten this one up. And then there's a bunch of stuff inside that box, and I'm sure it goes to assembling this. It looks like there's some tension rods or some chains, probably keep them swaying. And then we've got to finish buttoning up this side here too, all the hydraulics and everything. It's gonna be really cool when you guys see this thing work. It's pretty awesome. Goodies. Oh, it's a new hanger. Wonder if we need that. How different is it from the other one? It's a little different design. All right, well, I mean, I suppose we probably should use it. Oh, okay. I was under the impression we'd use the original hanger. Hanger's on the auger over there. It's got the hydraulic winch on, and that's what raises and lowers us up for transport. But just looking at this, it's quite a bit different. The angle, how high it is, everything. I mean, I bet you that one would work, but since this is made for this, I'm just gonna assemble this and we're gonna put it on. Okay, stop. Give me 1 second. Okay, set it down a little bit. I might be able to get a bolt here. 1 second here. Up a little bit then. There we go, right there. Oh, hang on. Okay, you should be able to let it go down now and back out, and then
I'm gonna go to the front.
Yep. Okay, you're good? You let down? Yeah, there you go. Oh, maybe it's the other way then. It's the other way. I must have it backwards. The picture looked like it was on the side of the swing out, but it's definitely on this side. We are this close to getting it all assembled. The problem is the new winch does not have a cable pre-installed on it, so we're going to route the cable out of that one, but we need hydraulics to winch it out, so I think I'm going to grab the 4520. Why not? It's kind of naked right now, but it'll run, so we're going to grab that. And then, of course, like I said earlier, we got a seal on order to finish putting the end together. Seal was shot, so gotta get a new one, but we got time, so it'll get here in time. Next time. And I put this on here, but I just realized I should have put this on here because if I left this off, it'd rain. Because I put that on there, now it's not gonna rain. I'll leave it off. Well worth destroying an engine with a bunch of rain for what you'd make in crop production. Buy a new engine at that, easy. Feel like a pulling tractor. I find it amazing that every diesel engine has this unique smell. They all burn or diesel differently. Like a 7.3 Power Stroke, I can smell that all day long and know exactly what engine that was in. And a Veco, FPT, they all smell the same. These 404s, 466s, they smell the same. Just how they burn the fuel, I guess. You hear that kind of tick? Tick, 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 tick. I know this engine's cool, but I wonder if that's an injector. Sounds like it. We'll see if that ticking continues when it warms up, gets real hot. If it does, we'll try to figure out what cylinder that's on. I bet it's just, I'm sure the rack needs ran too, or the valve needs set, but I bet that's an injector. Okay, let's try it. That's good. Oh man, it hasn't been in a while, so I'm not sure where that went. Just rounded up some John Deere to Pioneer ends. Get that hooked up, and then I think we're gonna try the extender here. Extend and see if we can get her to move, we can get the power wheels to turn, the extending to work, and then get it hooked up to the cable up there and try winching it up. Well, let's do it. Not getting tired of starting this thing. Talking about how it didn't twist the auger as much as the old pan did. They told us they do have an option with a counterweight on the other side that helps balance it. We don't have a lot of roading, but this unit's just a lot lighter than the old one. So this auger used to kind of twist a little bit with the weight on that when it was in the cradle mode. All right, there we go. We got our MKX 1394, 13-inch, 94-foot West Steel auger, and it was delivered to us by Northwest Grain Augers, and those guys have been great. But the extend, I think you guys kind of got an idea how that works. We'll do it better when we get the truck underneath to do it. But basically, drop the winch down, use the power wheels, wheel it out, and then you extend it up, or I should say retract it up like this, and it'll sit in the upright position. Truck pulls up, hopper set in between, center with the extend, slide it down underneath, then wheel it one side of hopper, dump the truck, other hopper, dump the hopper to the truck, then pull it back up, and then drive the truck out. So a couple of, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 movements you got to do, But I think once you get the feel of it, and you guys saw how fast the thing can go across the ground if you really wanted to. We had the hydraulics turned up all the way on the tractor. Might want to turn it down a little bit so you don't just ram it inside your truck, but it moves quick. So combination of that, it's gonna be nice. And then you're not driving over anything with like a 100,000 pound truck, because things don't like to be driven over with 100,000 pounds. This doesn't have to be driven over. Slid underneath, unless we forget to retract it. Then I really don't want to show that on camera, but it might happen. Let's never do that. That'd be bad.